What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Recruiting Roundup brought to you by Ortho Arizona. I'm Claudia Collins alongside Cody Cameron. And today it's all about the sophomores. We're talking about the class of 2027, which we don't always do on the Recruiting Roundup. Cody, I just want to kick it off before we get into our three guys. What is the big advantage of having guys on your team starting as sophomores? I know we can assume, but from a bigger picture, I'm curious, when have you seen this be a really good long-term result?
Yeah, it's the next wave, right, of talent. And the three kids we're about to talk about are tremendous football players. And a couple of them already have varsity tape, but the rewards of it, right? You get a program player who getting the experience as a sophomore by the time they're a senior. I mean, not only they are senior vet because of how many games experience they have, get him that valuable time. And I think it's really interesting. Some of these top programs in the state that we talk about, they're not afraid to play sophomores. You know, they play the best available, and it shows how this young talent in the state of Arizona continues to rise to the top.
All right, if we're talking about young talent, we always talk about quarterbacks in Arizona. We just breed them, I guess, especially over at Perry. If you think about some of the talent that's come out of there, I know you're a 49ers fan. We're talking about the Purdy's here. But today we're talking about the new QB1, Kale Snyder. That's after Diesel Taylor transferred to a school in San Diego. His dad got a job there. You know, the natural cycle of things. But that means an opportunity for Kale Snyder. What excites you about him?
What excites me about Kale is he checks all the boxes. You look at the frame, his arm strength, the power he brings, and yet he has not played a varsity, a whole varsity game hasn't started there yet, but he's done everything right. And he was excited to compete, just looking the way that he attacked the offseason and attacked the summer. This was a player who was excited to compete for varsity reps, and he understands the work ethic. And I think Kale Snyder, because of what he brings to the table, and not just the attributes that I already listened, but up here, the mental aspect of the game. Without seeing him play in person at a varsity rep, just very, very intelligent. I think he's going to be a very special quarterback in the state of Arizona for the next 3 years.
I reached out to Coach Ortiz because I wanted to hear from his words. I trust yours, Cody. You always have a great eye for this. But from Coach, he says that he has a big presence. He's a natural leader, and the team has just rallied around him, which that's huge as a sophomore, is if you can come in and lead and kind of set the tone that, okay, I realize I'm young, but I can still be a leader here. He says he's expecting him to have a big sophomore season, and he is spending every day of the offseason preparing. We're sticking with CUSD. We're moving over to Basha, talking about tackle Jake Hildebrand. You've put this name on my radar since day one. He's got over a dozen offers, most recently from Oregon after going to their camp in June. Cody, you visited Oregon. This isn't a let's, hype up Oregon show, but I'm just curious, what was your takeaway from that camp and seeing the facilities?
Yeah, so I was with Jake and his dad when they were taking the unofficial tour, and Jake went to camp and landed the offer after camp with that Oregon staff. And it's like, what do you not like about this kid? This kid, he's 6'6", 280 plus, 4.0 GPA, and everything he does, he puts his max effort in. And he is a player who started as a freshman. And when we talk about Basha High School, we've seen that trend the last, 3 or 4 years, freshmen and sophomores starting, but Jake just does it all. And so what impressed me the most, especially when he was out in Eugene, was his conversations with coaches. They weren't timid. He wasn't scared. It was confident answers, but understanding. Like, he understood what it takes to get to that level. That's what really impressed me. That kid, I mean, he's going to have a million offers by the time. Every school in the country is going to want Jake Hildebrand, but he's a great individual as well.
All right, moving on to the last guy we're talking about, wide receiver Jai Jones at Chandler High School. Another track and field guy, too, which I think just goes to tell you, I mean, especially at the wide receiver position, huge advantage there. His last offer is from Washington. I actually reached out to Rick Garrettson to get his opinion on him, and he said he's a grinder on and off the field. In the weight room, we've seen that. If you look on Twitter, we always talk about how great it is to post the weight room clips. We've got that going on. He's a deep threat who understands releases and pass routes. Jai is a game breaker who is not afraid to compete and be coached hard, which we do know that Rick Garrettson is a top coach. So all sounds accurate. Cody, what are your takeaways?
Yeah, another player that had experience at Corona del Sol last year, going up to Chandler, and you're spot on with Coach Garrettson. Big body receiver, especially being so young. He's still developing his frame, but listed at 6'2", 175. He's every bit of that. What I love when you watch his freshman tape, he attacks the football. Very good route runner, but attacks the football. they're going to get after. So I can't wait to watch Jai play this season and just see how his game elevates in a Chandler Wolves uniform. But like you said, University of Washington, University of Arizona, and Oregon all after him this past spring and throwing out early offers. Another tremendous talent in the class of 2027.
That's it on this class of 2027 recruiting roundup. If you want more recruiting news, head to sports360az.com.